What's up, guys and gals? It's the Tyrant here. Welcome back to my weekly Q&A session where you guys ask the questions and I give you the answers. My voice is mostly back now. It's still crackling a little bit. I've still got a little ways to go. It actually took me quite a while to do my top 5 things I love about Halo 2 video, just because my voice kept like sinking and I was like, no! But yeah, welcome back to the Q&A. It's always my favorite time of the week. I'm glad that at least I'm mostly back now. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. I'm looking forward to it. If you want to know how to submit a question for consideration for next week's Q&A, it's quite simple. You can either post it in the comment section below. You can hit me up on Twitter at MythicTyrant. Or if you're a patron donor, which if you aren't, I would love it if you would do that. We have a private community Discord, and within the Discord there is a subsection where you can ask your questions there as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Our first question of the week comes from QUANTUMEASY. I'm not sure if that's an oxymoron or not, but QUANTUMEASY asks, Tyrant, do you think mendicant bias will end up being influenced by the created? If not, do you think he will help fight the created? Neither, to be honest with you. I've had a lot of time to think about this, and although mendicant bias is an important part of the Halo saga, he really isn't mentioned that much in the games themselves, aside from like terminals and stuff. So I think it would be something out of left field for people who don't dig that deep into the Halo saga. And of course, I've been a pretty big advocate for them not trying to include external lore or things that, you know, people don't already just happen to know by just playing the games. So my answer to that question is I doubt either one of those will happen. But it's an interesting thing to bring up, and who knows, you know, they could completely take us by surprise. But thank you, Quantum, I appreciate it. Our next question comes from Xbox One X. I'm not going to lie, I want one of you. I want an Xbox One X of my own. And Xbox One X asks, would you like to see a return of Firefight in Halo 6, not like the one in Halo 5, but the one like in Halo Reach and ODST, where you could play by yourself or invite your friends? Truth be told, I'd love to see both. I mean, as you can see right now, I'm playing Warzone Firefight for Halo 5, and there's fun to be had in it. I think they meant it to be something else, to be honest with you, because, you know, as you can see here, like, for whatever reason, the first enemy is hunters. Like, really? Hunters? Serpent hunters at that. You know, sometimes I don't think the bosses that are in round 1 are really fitting for Rec 1 tier weapons. It could use a lot of polish, but I think there's a lot of, you know, potential for it. And I'd love to see it alongside of a firefight sort of like Halo 3 ODSTs. I'm not really fond of Reach's firefight for a number of reasons. I think they did some things right by having a lot of options and so forth, but I just appreciated the AI more in Halo 3 ODST. So I'd like to see both types in the game if possible, but, you know, we'll see. You know, that would be my thing, is if they're going to put firefight in, make it happen at launch. You know, don't wait a year, and make both types to appease everybody. So yeah, great question, Xbox One X. Thank you. Our next question comes from Austin K. And Austin K asks, if you could only choose one part of Halo 6 for 343 to get 100% right, what would you want it to be? Campaign, customs, multiplayer, forge, or microtransactions? Ooh, positive, aren't we today? You know me. My answer is quite simply put, campaign. I know everyone who's probably listening right now is like, no, Tyrant multiplayer. Yeah, campaign's what I usually play. In fact, in only half of the Halo games out there, the main games anyway, that's all I've really participated in when it came to multiplayer. I played Halo PC's multiplayer. I played Halo 2 PC's multiplayer, so basically the tail end of Halo 2's lifespan before Halo 3 was announced. I played Halo 3's multiplayer from the get-go. Did not pay any attention to Reach or Halo 4, and now I'm back in it for Halo 5. So I don't really count Halo 2 just because I was only playing it for a couple of months before Halo 3 came out. So really, Combat Evolved, Halo 3, and Halo 5 is all I've really cared about. Customs, again, are great, but I don't know how they could really screw that up, since they should have the options in there for players to be able to fine-tune what their settings are. At least in my opinion, they should. In terms of microtransactions, I guess Halo 5 did it better than some of the other games out there, like Call of Duty World War II and Star Wars Battlefront 2 before they nixed them. Personally, I prefer that there were no microtransactions at all in any major AAA title. Leave those for the mobile games. But, you know, that's still a great question, and I appreciate you asking Austin. Thank you, I appreciate it, my friend. Our next question comes from PUNEET KUMAR. And PUNEET asks, do you think that the time has come that we should just move on and accept the newer Halo game style, or the newer Halo games style? Yeah. You know, I met up with Late Night Gaming yesterday, and he and I talked a little bit about like the ratio of community members, and how we're both pretty confident at this point that people who consider themselves legacy Halo fans, you know, from back in the Combat Evolved, Halo 2, Halo 3 days, are in the minority right now. I mean, they're not that many left. People have grown up, they've moved on to other things. Not everyone has, obviously, but we think a lot of the people currently playing are newer generation players that, you know, maybe got started with Halo 4, or maybe even with Halo 5. You know, maybe they played one of the other enhanced mobility games out there, saw Halo and said, let's give this a try, and they stuck with it. So, and because of that, I don't really think, at least not for a while, we're going to see any type of regression. Definitely not for Halo 6. I can't see them making a hard switch from having sprint in the last 3 games to not having sprint at all. I can't see them nerfing Spartan abilities, just because I get why legacy fans don't like it, but at the same time, it would be too abrupt of a change. Like, if you look at the progression between Halo Reach, Halo 4, and Halo 5, each game changes, but it more along the lines of improves on what the last game did. Now, take that, you know, for what you will. All 3 are very different from the original 3 Halo games, and ODST if you want to go that far, but they've fine-tuned it each time. Halo 4's armor abilities were better implemented into the game than Halo Reach's. Enhanced mobility in Halo 5, to me at least, is better than the armor abilities that were in Halo 4. If anything, I see them fine-tuning the current mobility system in Halo 6. Again, I don't know what that means. I don't know if they would take anything out that's currently there, like, you know, ground pound or Spartan charge or anything like that, or replace it with other things. I don't know. But, you know, based on their pattern, I would expect to see enhanced mobility in Halo 6. In terms of the art style, again, I can't imagine there are going to be any drastic changes. Remember, these aren't standard Covenant that we're fighting in Halo or the Reclaimer Saga. There's Storm Covenant, and of course, the Banished we could be seeing in Halo 6. And if that's the case, we might be getting some of their art style. I don't know. I just wouldn't expect any return to form when it comes to Halo Combat Evolved through Halo 3. So I hope that answers your question. It may not be one that you want to know the answer to or what you wanted to hear, but, you know, I hope at least you see it from that perspective. So always good to hear from you, PUNEET, and thank you. Our next question comes from Claude Assassin, and Claude Assassin asks, Q&A, how is Activision staying under the radar with their forcing of the microtransactions like the remaster for Modern Warfare and Destiny and Call of Duty World War II? Quite simply put, they're not staying under the radar. Everyone knows that they're ripping their fans off, and it's being addressed for sure. I mean, you know, people across the board are speaking up about it. Hell, even in the Halo community, people have made videos about it, like Actman and Late Night Gaming. As far as what can be done about it, the reason why you don't see anything being done about it yet is because you didn't see the same level of outcry that you did with Star Wars Battlefront 2 by EA. Now, if you do start seeing that type of thing going on, you start seeing, you know, massive support in Reddit or anything like that, at some point Activision's going to have to take notice of it, otherwise they're going to be releasing a commercial failure. So if you want things to change, all I can say is, you know, get you and your friends together, go to those forums and let your voice be heard. So they're not under the radar, it's just it hasn't reached the level of recognition that EA's Star Wars Battlefront 2 did. So I hope that answers your question, but that's a great one, Claude Assassin. Thank you. Our next question comes from one of my Patreon guys, NEBULOUSCHEETAH, and Nebulous asks, Q&A, in the Halo 6 story, I have an idea. What if Halsey develops a weapon to destroy the domain from the inside to stop Cortana? So I want to segue for a second. He actually, the full question is about, well, it looks like maybe half a page long, maybe not quite that long, just a really large paragraph. And so there's more to his question than this, but usually when I see questions this size, in general, I don't usually answer them because they're not really questions so much as trying to paint these really long scenarios, with the exception of people that I find to be very upstanding members of the community, like Nebulous here. And so I'm going to address the first couple of sentences here, if that's okay with you, Nebulous. Again, this is nothing on you. I understand that people coming into the Q&As late might not understand this, since I haven't talked about it much recently. So, but to get to the answer to your question, I don't see that being the case. I mean, it's certainly possible, but if I were to go with anything, I would feel like it would have more to do with Chief, performing some sort of self-sacrifice to end the war and save Cortana, and sacrificing himself at the same time. That's my personal take on it. In terms of building a weapon, I'm not really sure what the case for that would be. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, it's possible, but it seems pretty far-fetched. It's an interesting idea, though. You know, maybe, you know, there could be some external lore where, you know, maybe some side battles go on somewhere where taking that step allowed others to take other steps towards victory, if you catch my drift. Sort of like D-Day wasn't a decisive victory so much, it was a way to push through enemy lines and punch. Well, that's actually a terrible example. There was one bit, I want to say this was in World War II, it had to be, but my memory's really fuzzy here. I'm sure someone can correct me in the comment section, where decoys were put up by the Allies, and they used it. That may have been D-Day, I'm not really sure, where decoys were put up and then the actual force came through somewhere else so they could take the Axis powers off guard. So I could see something like that being implemented in maybe external lore where the player doesn't necessarily have to know about it, but if you want to hear about details of the war between humans and the created, it'd be a little extra tidbit for someone who's really into the external lore and wants to know more about what's going on. So I hope that answers your question, Nebulous, and thank you, my friend. Always good to hear from you. Our next question comes from CFunk99, and CFunk asks, what games other than Halo did you play on the original Xbox? If you had one, which I'm assuming you did. Gee, what made you think that, C-Funk? No, I'm just kidding. I played quite a few. The only ones I can remember off the top of my head. I mean, I only played games that people bought me. The only one that I really bought for myself was Combat Evolved. In terms of games that other people got for me to play, I played the original Splinter Cell, the original Ghost Recon, 007 Nightfire, I think was one of the ones I played. And shoot. It was so long ago. Oh, no, that was Xbox 360. I was going to say Star Wars The Force Unleashed. No, I'm thinking too far ahead. I think those were the main ones that I played. I didn't have a huge selection for Xbox. Oh, wait, no. I do remember a couple more. Run Like Hell. I feel like that was the most underrated game out there. It was like a combination of Aliens and Predator. It was really well done. It's one of those games where you play through it the first time, and then after that, you don't really play it again. You know, it's one of those things where you have fun playing it the first time through, but there's not a lot of replay value. So that was one that I played. Let's see. I think I played. It's some sort of land. I think it was Land of the Dead. It was supposed to be based off the movie. That ended up being terrible. And I also played The Thing. I think it was based off that 80s movie, and that was actually pretty good. I don't think I ever beat it though. But yeah, it was a good game. So yeah, I have a pretty extensive library, I guess. I just can't remember most of them at the moment. But yeah, so I played lots of other stuff besides Halo. But thank you, C-Funk. I appreciate the question. And our final question of the week, our star question, comes from Patrick Thomas, and Patrick asks, Halo Q&A, what do you think of invasion mode returning but improved with AI Marines and grunts attacking and defending to make it feel more like a battle? No team colors, just standard UNSC and Covenant colors. I think that'd be kind of a cool idea. You know, I really honestly feel like Invasion was the most underutilized and underappreciated game mode out there. I mean, out of all the Halo games we have, it's only appeared in one. And to be honest with you, I think that was the only time that elites felt balanced in multiplayer, when it was basically humans versus elites. It was a fun game type. And to get to your AI question, they should have implemented this a while ago, and they started implementing it like in Firefight, for example, in Halo Reach with just one map. But there should be more AI involved, because you as the player feel more accomplished if you're able to take other things out. The best example I can think of this is Titanfall, the original one. I haven't played the multiplayer for the sequel yet, just the campaign. But you know, you had teams versus teams. I think it was 8 versus 8 or something like that in the original Titanfall. But you had tons of AI on both sides. And so the way it worked was, if you shot an AI, it was worth like 1 point or something like that. But if you shot a human player, if you were able to kill a human player, it was worth like double or something like that. I feel like having that much action on the battlefield not only makes the battles more fun, but it can make players themselves feel more accomplished, which keeps them coming back for more. I feel like that's important. I would love to see something like that for the next major Halo title. I'd love to see an invasion type that's bigger in scale and has AI versus AI as well. Maybe you can even have the AIs combating each other in addition to the players. I think that would be a great idea. You could even have phantoms dropping off the Covenant and pelicans dropping off the humans. You know, make something creative. You know, you can even make the AI drive vehicles. Some sort of big battle type scenario I would love to see in the next major Halo game. I think that they were on that way, or at least heading in that direction with Warzone, but you know, I still think there was a lot of improvement that could have been made to Warzone. You know, more maps, more scenarios. The biggest issue that I had with Warzone as of right now is it feels a little repetitive, and that applies to Firefight too. Both feel fairly repetitive, where it's like a tug of war type scenario rather than just like this massive fight that's taking place. It's still, in my opinion, on par with Big Team Battle, maybe a little bit better, just simply because you have more players on each team, and you have the addition of AI objectives. You know, you have to kill this Covenant leader or this Promethean leader or the Warden Eternal or whatever. But I think there could be more to it than that, and Invasion might be a way to fill that void. That's certainly possible. I mean, I had a lot of fun with Invasion back in Reach. I can see, because the technology has improved so much between Xbox 360 and now the Xbox One and Xbox One X, that they have the capability to create something massive with that ideology in mind. And given that was the foundation of Halo to begin with, was humans versus Covenant, and okay, occasionally a third faction like the Flood would come in, or in this case the Prometheans, it was always, the core behind it was supposed to be between the humans and the Covenant. So I would love to see an invasion type appear in Halo 6, lots of AI versus players. I think that'd be fantastic. Who knows, you could even have another mode where maybe the Flood appear or the Prometheans appear, whatever, just to spice things up a little bit. There's a lot of potential there, and I think that there are a lot of people who, if they're still here, you know, who were playing back when Halo Reach came out, that would love to see that game type return, if anything, so they could be elites in multiplayer. So, yeah, absolutely. I think that would be a great idea, and I'd love to see it implemented in the next major Halo title. But what do you guys think? In terms of adding Invasion, would you like to see it in Halo 6? And if so, what would you like to see implemented into the game type? What types of features would you like to see in there that have been in there in the past, or that you would add completely from scratch? Whatever your comments are, whatever your thoughts, I look forward to hearing them. You can let me know in the comments below, or hit me up on Twitter at MythicTyrant. I hope you guys enjoyed today's Q&A. I appreciate you stopping by. Again, it's always my favorite time of the week. I've got such a good audience here, and I want to take this moment to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your day to stop by and listen to my Q&A and participate in it. Thank you guys and gals so much for watching. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. I will catch you all right back here next time. And as always, I'm the Tyrant, signing off.